I am not a financial advisor, and I never give financial advice on this channel. 100% of this content is for entertainment purposes only. Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle. I just wanted to go over the XRP charts really quick. We're seeing some very interesting things on the charts right now, heading into the weekend. And is it possible that the powers that be, the institutions, the hedge funds, are trying to block XRP from breaking out? So let's get into the chart. So taking a look at the current XRP chart, this is the 4-hour chart, you can see that we formed a bearish order block right here. Price came down, bounced hard off of this bullish fair value gap known as a BISI, right at around that 222.87 mark. We then came up, got completely rejected out of this first bearish order block, and have now formed a second one here, which is bigger and probably going to be much stronger. We're also trading below the 200-day moving average, as well as below the Gaussian channel. There's a lot of bearish things going on the charts right now, and I know from watching a couple YouTube videos recently that there are so many people out there that are incredibly bullish, but they're ignoring the fact of what we're seeing on the charts right now, and instead letting the hype get to them, which is generally the case. If you hear moon, 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 we're going to the moon enough, you'll start to believe that we're going to the moon without actually taking the time to look at the charts to see where we are. And yes, I believe the biggest breakout we've ever seen in XRP's history is coming very soon. It's right in front of us. But I do think that the powers that be have some shenanigans that are going to come first. And if you've watched my videos, you know that I think we are going for a liquidity draw previous to that. And I find it very interesting that this is occurring right now, because the charts are in such an interesting position. So many things about the chart is bullish, yet so many things about the chart is bearish. And I still believe that we are likely to come down to this liquidity zone right here on my charts, which spans at about that $2.364 down to about that $1.8349. My target right here is this weak doji reverse waterfall, which is at $1.9234. We may not get that low. We may just come down in here and tap into this, dig in a little. We may not even get quite to the liquidity zone, because as price has been rising up, so have the stop losses and liquidation points, bringing that zone up higher. So we may not have to go as deep to get the liquidity that we need for the big move. Now, taking a look at the daily chart, you can see that we have this prevailing upper trend line right here in the thick white. We also have this lower, smaller trend line right here, which is the trend line I've noticed most people who cover technical analysis on XRP, this is the one that they're using. But we have to take this one into consideration as well. We're also trading below the equilibrium zone, which is another bearish sign. So now flipping back to the 4-hour charts, you can see that upper prevailing trend line right here. This one here is the lower. We are forming a nice descending wedge pattern right here, which generally tends to be bullish. And with this bullish fair value gap right here, which held us up so well with price in this area, when price came down, striking it, literally didn't even wick into it, just completely reversed and went right back up to the bearish order block. But we also have that lower trend line here that most people are using. We have the lower trend line of the descending wedge pattern here. So think about this possibility. If price falls down, breaks through this bullish fair value gap, breaking both of these trend lines, I think there's only one option, and that's for price to visit lower levels, which would likely be this weak doji reverse waterfall right here at the $2.0843 range. We still have all of these roadblocks up above. First, we have to get back above the 200-day moving average. Then we need to get back through and above the Gaussian channel. We have a breaker block right here in the red on the 4-hour, as well as another bearish order block on the daily, which is going to be more powerful than either of these, both of which are crowned with a bearish SIBI, which is also on the daily, which we have only managed to penetrate into about 50%. So even if price does come down, holds at the bottom trend line here at this bullish BISI, breaks out of this descending wedge pattern, which would be bullish, we still have to make it through all of these roadblocks, the 200, the Gaussian, the breaker block, the bearish order block, as well as our biggest challenge, which will be getting through this bearish SIBI right here, which is rather large. Then we have the upper trend line to contend with. That's a lot to get through, and I'm not going to become bullish or change my mind on this liquidity draw until at a bare minimum we break this order block and start challenging into this bearish SIBI right here. If we can get up above this upper trend line, come back, potentially retest it, this bearish SIBI will likely begin to act as support rather than resistance for the move to come. And I do believe that we are going to see the biggest move we have ever seen in XRP over the course of the next few months. But it seems very likely to me that first we are going to have to gather sell-side liquidity somewhere down here in this range, perhaps even down to this weak doji, before that happens. We also have this bullish order block down here, basically leveled right about that $1.89 range. So if we can take out this weak doji, this will likely act as support for a reversal. At that point, we would want to be looking for a bullish order block forming on the 4-hour chart to propel us into the move upwards. But I think right now, overall, people are just too bullish. Every channel I look on, everybody's just bullish, bullish. We're going to the moon, bullish, bullish, buy, buy, buy. Nobody's paying attention to what the price action is doing right now. Everybody just wants to look at the chart really quick and go, man, that looks bullish. Not even taking into account the fact that the market makers, the institutions, are playing games right now. Now, what are the odds that the institutions and the hedge funds are building these bearish order blocks right now in order to push price down, moving into the weekend where we'll have much lower volume, where they can then crush the price down into those lower liquidity ranges to gather the liquidity that's going to be needed for the move upward? Not to mention the fact that they can fill all of their limit buy orders at a nice discount compared to current price. And as you know, the weekends have been extremely bearish for quite some time. Not every weekend, but the vast majority have been. So it would be the perfect opportunity for them to bring the price down into those lower ranges, filling their orders, market makers gathering liquidity in order to take the price up, breaking through all of these roadblocks we have, and then finally getting to see the breakout that we have been waiting for so long to experience. Now, nobody knows exactly what is going to happen, but this could be a type of a situation that we could be going into moving into the weekend, which would be something to look out for. Because if the institutions and the hedge funds are going to fill their limit buy orders down in the liquidity zone, you might want to consider doing the same thing, perhaps laddering some orders down there so that you can be aligning your purchasing with the big dogs. Set your buy orders where other people are setting their stop losses. Set your stop losses where other people are setting their buy orders, and you will out-trade retail more times than not. So this will be something to keep an eye on. I find it very interesting that this setup is happening right before we head into the weekend, which would be the perfect opportunity with low volume to just drive the price right into that liquidity zone unopposed, especially having this bullish descending wedge pattern right here, which I guarantee the vast majority of retail traders, that's what they're keeping their eye on. They're not watching the price action. They're just going with the moon. We're going to the moon thesis, and they're not actually paying attention. Now, we certainly could break through this and start moving to the upside. That's not impossible. But in order for that to happen, buyers are going to have to step in. And right now, the only buyers that I can see are hanging out right here in this area. And if sellers start to dominate heading into Friday, when a lot of people tend to close their positions to reduce their risk moving into the weekend, we could see a move downward, breaking through this, breaking this trend, which would essentially trigger stop losses and liquidation points all the way down. It could be the perfect storm that takes us right down into this weak doji, perhaps even down into this liquidation zone that I've been talking about for about a month and had on my chart for quite some time now. So it's just something to think about, something to consider. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please do me a favor and hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps the channel. So thank you so much. Have a great day. For additional information and exclusive perks, do consider joining me on Patreon.